everyone, it's Teresa, and today is a special video. I got to go shopping with a friend of mine from here on YouTube, Jackie, and I will tell you a little bit about that in a minute. First, we're going to start off with one of these 8x8 canvases. Now, this is not something I got from Dollar Tree. I actually got it from Joann's. It's an 8x8, but it ended up being less than $1 each. So I'm taking off all of the canvas part, and I was shocked at how nice this frame was that was underneath. It needed a little attention with that wood filler, which is what we're going to do next. We're going to just fill in all that spots that were kind of blank and empty, and then we're going to do a good sanding and add our wood tint. Next, we're going to use one of these little flowers from Dollar Tree. Got this idea from another friend, Rhonda, over at the Distressed Princess. I'm going to link her video below for you where she uses this and another thing I'll use later on too. So I painted it all in white, and then we're going to go in with this ink colored paint, i.e. black. And we're going to just basically trim along the edges of all the petals first. And then we're going to basically do it through the entire project, you know, along the petals. Rhonda did something really nice with it as well. I definitely would recommend you going and checking out that video. And she's really great with a lot of farmhouse stuff too. So if you like Farmhouse, you're going to love her channel. So as we go along doing this, I'll tell you a little bit about my shopping trip. Jackie from a Dollar Tree Mimi's World and I decided we would go shopping together at, shocker, Dollar Tree. She actually lives about an hour or hour and a half or so away from me, so we decided it would just be a fun time. So, and it's funny because what we were supposed to do, we were supposed to shop for each other and do like a she shopped for me kind of video, and we forgot. So since we forgot to do that, we ended up just saying like, okay, well, just use something that you found at this trip. This isn't something I found at that trip, but I liked it so much I had to show it to you first. Once you're done with that, we're going to go in with this gray wood tint from Folk Art and just going to give it just kind of like a little bit of a brushing on all of the petals again. And I have this little trick to come from the blondie next door, Yelena. She has been using this tint, and I had bought it a while ago, and I used it on wood, and I didn't like it. And she was saying how she uses it to distress. So I was like, okay, I'm going to give that a shot, and I really like it. So it was good to have, you know, something to do with it, because I love the walnut one on wood. Just this one, for whatever reason, when I would use it to stain wood, it just didn't give it much of a nothing. There was like nothing there. But for distressing on top of something that's white, perfection. So thank you, Yelena. So I go through, give it a nice little, you know, looks over, everything looks good. And then we're going to add these wooden dowels to the back side of our canvas frame. So when we're doing that, what we're going to do first is we're going to glue down one. See, I'm kind of taking a look at, one is going to go down straight down, and then the other one I'm just going to cut. So I'll show you that here. Just use my handy dandy miter shears. They will be linked for you below if you're interested in them. And I am going to just add a glue, you know, dab, a good size dab in each corner for the first one. Give that just a minute or two to set up. And then we're going to use this one that we cut in half. And obviously you're going to add your glue to the one corner. And then there's there's actually a spot that was kind of flattened. So it was kind of perfect for this particular project. And then we're going to do the same on the other side. Don't worry, you're not going to see the middle of it. So I'll show you in just a minute. We're going to add just a little bit more glue to it as well to give it a little stronger, more secure hold. So see, we're just going to do a little bit of glue right there, just to give it a little more security. And now we're onto the front, and I'm going to add a little glue here in the middle as well, because our flower that we're about to add kind of dips down in the middle, so it's not even going to touch that. So we're going to add our glue around the perimeter of the flower, plop it on top of those wooden dowels, and away you go. You know, and I do end up adding some glue after the fact on the back. I can't remember if I showed you it. I was kind of like playing around with it. Yep, here we go. I'm just going to add some more glue right over where those wooden dowels meet the flower, just to make sure you have a little more hold, a little more security. The flower is really not heavy, so I wouldn't be too concerned about it, but just because they're not completely attached to each other, just, you know, And here it is, all finished. I really, really love this one, I have to tell you. So like I was mentioning to you before, Jackie from A Dollar Tree Mimi's World and I went shopping. Here's a little bit of her videos. She does DIYs, shopping trips, hauls, just you name it, she does it. Especially Dollar Tree stuff, so I definitely recommend going over and subscribing. So here we are leaving our shopping trip. It was a lot of fun. So here is one of the items I picked up when we went shopping. It was this little home sign, and it was actually already taken apart. Like not intentionally taken apart, but you know how it is. Sometimes you get something from Dollar Tree that's not always the best quality, but that's okay. I was like, no, I like that it's apart already. It had a little bit of like adhesive on it, you know, from where the home was supposed to be. So just a little bit of sanding and it fixed it right up. And we're going to add this decal to it because I absolutely love the background of this sign. We're just going to do a nice little thing for spring. It's absolutely perfect for spring. It says some people see, some see a weed, others see a wish. Or some see a wish. I thought it was just really cute and kind of perfect for spring. So we're just going to add that on, give it a nice, you know, varnishing, and pull up your transfer tape. Make sure when you're doing this, you're careful to add your transfer tape, you know, like stick it on like your sleeve or something just to get a little bit of the stickiness away from it so it's easy to transfer. So that was a little tip that I had gotten from Christy Creates. She's not exactly like a close personal friend, but I watch her and she gave that tip to everyone watching her. So, but it's a good tip. So, I actually, because I didn't feel like cutting cutting one long piece, I cut a few different small pieces and I ran into a little bit of a problem, but that's all right. It ends up working out just fine. Just if you segment it and make little pieces to go over your words or whatever you're going to be putting down in your vinyl, just make sure you're careful about your pieces of transfer tape. So here it is. We're just going to put it on there. Now you'll notice it's a little wiggly, you know, like things are just not perfect usually from the Dollar Tree. So I'm just going to take this tiny little skewer stick and I didn't even need to glue it. I'm just going to, you know, push it down in between, you know, the actual sign part, and here it is, all finished, perfect for spring. I absolutely love it. So on to our next project. I'm going to take this little box and we're going to get rid of all the glitter, and then we're going to give it a nice solid coat of the Adirondack white. And we're going in with that same gray tint, wood tint from Folk Art, and we're going to go all around the perimeter first. And then what we'll do is we'll kind of go in, I decided that was not a good brush for this. So I end up with just a small chip brush, and we're just going to go through and give it a really good distressing. It sounds kind of funny when you say it like that. It's a really good distressing, like distressing is normally good, except in this instance, distressing is good. If it's not your thing, if you prefer to have things like a very clean traditional look, just skip over on this part and maybe do an extra coat of the white, just so, or whatever color you choose. So just depending on, you know, on you, how you like your stuff, that's what I would recommend doing. It was really funny because the first decal I cut out I didn't really like, so I ended up doing this one, which I like much, much better. It just says seeds. I thought it was kind of perfect. I was going to do it for like flowers, like fresh flowers, but I like the seeds better because it's so small. And what I did, I tried to handwrite it, and it was ridiculous. I couldn't even show you guys. It was awful. Like I used that artisan marker to try to handwrite it, and I was like, yeah, I can't even show this as a fail. So I end up just adding on my little 25 cents on the front. This is removable vinyl because I do have a plan for this in the future. So what I did, I just, like I said, same way as before, and I needed a little something extra, so I'm going to take one of those rub-on transfers from Dollar Tree, and of course it ends up being like the one in the very middle of the page, so you got to like cut around all the other pieces of the ones that you don't want to use. And so eventually, sometime today, I will get that transfer off of the sheet and I will show you. Yep, here it is. Just peel it off. It's just this tiny little flower detail. I thought it was just kind of perfect. And you're going to use the edge of something like here I'm using the end of a paintbrush, or you can use the end of basically any of your little tools. Those are what I have found are best. And then you peel it up and you're good to go. And I'll show you here how I styled it. I just added in all these really pretty like little wildflower things from Dollar Tree. Next, we're going to use this charger. Now, if you can't find this charger, what I recommend doing is look online because it is available. And I'm going to use this I Love Spring. Now, if you do not have a Cricut, I'm going to leave the link for where I found this below. You download it as a PDF and just print it off on your printer. Easy peasy. And then see, I'm using my little round ruler thing that will also be linked for you below should you be interested in it from Amazon. Now, all of those links from Amazon are affiliate links, but they don't cost you anything. If you want to use them, great. If you don't, that's okay too. So I was going to try to make like a really good rounded cut, but then I was like, you know what? Things are going to go on top of it anyways. So we're just going to kind of go around trying to stay close to where those dots are that I made, just to give me kind of a guideline to make sure I don't make it completely wonky. So as you can see here, it's definitely not, it's not where it really needs to be. So we're going to go through and just start to cut down where, you know, makes the most sense. Again, it's not going to be something you can really see the edge of all that well. So I'm not real worried about it being perfect. So oh yes, by the way, this SVG that I did get is free. I'm going to link it for you. All you have to do is like sign up and basically you just get a bunch of email to your email. So who cares, right? If it's free, and they have a pretty good selection too. So next what we're going to do is we're going to add a whole bunch of hot glue. And this is funny. So I'm really careful, not touching the hot glue, push it down on the thing, straighten it out, put my hands on it. I was like, oh my gosh, that's hot. So don't do that. And then of course my very technical tool of like a pencil holder to try to push it down on the plate. Goodness gracious, guys. I pretend to be a professional. So next we're going in with those same wildflowers that we used on the last DIY. Is we're just going to kind of take some pieces off of it, find some good spots to put everything, and we're going to speed you up here just so you can, you know, get the basic gist of it. That little flower, I tell you what, it just did not want to sit down. It was like all about standing up. And see, it's moving again, but that's all right. We're going to work with it. So I add a bunch of these little purpley, flowery things down here at the bottom. These picks are really pretty, and you get a little bit of a variety too. I know it's like sometimes it's great to get a bunch of the same things, but sometimes I want to get a pick with a lot of variety because then you're not using like 5 different picks when you're trying to put something together. So I basically just kind of layered it, you know, underneath the last piece just to make sure you can't see all of the stems. And I'm going to add some more pieces. That was kind of like my greenery I laid down first. And now I'm going to start laying down the more flowery looking parts of these wildflower picks. All in all, I used roughly 2, but I didn't use all of the 2. So you definitely get a lot of different things that are really small and delicate and just really perfect for, you know, spring. So I know a lot of people have been having awful weather lately. So hopefully this gives you some things to help, you know, bring it into your home, add a little bit of brightness to your home and you know, in the dreary weather. I don't want to rub it in, but I can't say that I have a lot of dreary weather other than rain. I mean, we've had some rain here, but I live in Florida. It's been, you know, pretty warm here. It feels like spring, at least to me. So, I'm just adding a bunch of these other little pieces from it. See there, you can kind of see it in the corner. I just kind of cut off where I want and just add it in, again, layering it underneath those other pieces so you don't really see the stem. So eventually I'm going to be done here. I didn't realize I left all this in, but that's all right. You get the basic idea of kind of different ways to lay things, layer them, and all that. So once I've gotten to the point where I'm happy, which obviously not yet, there's another tip for you. If you're having a hard time finding ways to put these in, trim off the part that you're going to add the glue to. So I'm going to add this little bow. That ribbon I just got from Dollar Tree on my last shopping trip. And it's really nice and pretty, perfectly like neutral farmhouse. I love it. And that's just like a little shoestring bow. I didn't show it to you because it's pretty simple. Even I can figure it out. It's just a regular old shoestring bow. And I am going to glue down the tails to it as well, just to kind of get them in a spot that looks nice. And that way, once I find that spot, I can glue it down and not have to worry too much about, you know, it flopping all over my writing that, you know, you want to be able to see it. So I haven't decided yet if I'm going to leave this charger like on a stand or if I'm going to add a hanger or something. I haven't decided yet. So here it is all finished for you. Here it is in a stand. You know, like I said, I haven't decided yet if I'm going to add a hanger. So on this project, pretend you don't look at it like it is right now because it's not going to look like that in a minute. I tried to do this method and I just did not like the result. So I decided I was going to add paper to it instead. And I like the overall look of it. This, however, was definitely my problem child project of the bunch. Like I said, at first I just didn't like this. It didn't look enough like wood to me. And so I was like, oh, I'll just cover it up with wood paper. I mean, logically. And I'm gluing it on. And I printed this little fresh cut printable. It's from the same site that I got the other ones at. Again, you just sign up for a membership and then you can access a whole bunch of different files for free. You can have them set up as an SVG. You can have them set up just as a PDF. You get a lot of options though. So we're just going to put it down. I end up using this spray Elmer's glue that I got from Dollar Tree. It's okay. It's not my favorite method. I probably would have preferred a glue stick to it, but it's not too bad. Like if you're in a pinch and that's what you have. So we're going to do a mixture of the clear wax and the antique wax. Both of them are from Folk Art, and I'll have the full names of everything, of course, listed for you below like always. And I was too lazy to get up and get, like, I have a little plastic plate that I usually keep these kind of things on, and I just didn't want to get up and get it. So I put it on a piece of paper. Very technical crafter I am. So at first I put it down and didn't have enough of the antique wax, and then I had too much of the antique wax. You know, what are you going to do? So basically what we're going to do is we're going to rough it around all of the edges. You want the edges to be probably a little bit darker, and then we're going to go through and really give some color to this, really, you know, give it a real dirty antique look. Now, one thing that's nice, when I added that paper, which I really could have just done a full sheet of paper on the whole thing with the printout on it, but I went this route instead. When you're adding all of this like antique wax to it, you can either let it bring out all of those edges from the, you know, the paper that you're adding on, or you can do what I did, is cover it up with some twine. So first we're going in and adding in basically anywhere that I see white, and then I'm going to add a little more smearing to it. I wanted it a little darker in a few spots. I didn't want it too dark everywhere, but we're going to add a little detail first. I got ahead of myself. First, we're going to add this detail with the twine because you can still see the line. I think it looks all right the way it is, but I didn't want to leave it that way, so I am just going to add some twine around. Now, it's up to you. You could wrap it, you know, kind of all over the place. You can do it really neat like I did, or, you know, just a straight line. Just however you want to do it, you can wrap it a few times. I chose just to do 2. So I'm just going to add my glue on the back of it just to hold it all down. And of course there I cut it a little too short, cut it long enough. And I'm going to do the same on the bottom. Just give it a little bit of glue just to hold it kind of in place. Give it a minute to set, and then just wrap it around an additional time. Just like I said, just to give it a little bit of something extra. I felt like it added, you know, a little bit more texture to it. It doesn't really have a ton of texture because, I mean, obviously you have like the antique wax, but it's all very smooth. So just to give it something extra. Excuse me, I have to take a drink. Gosh, this like talk today. There, that's much better. So the same process as the one on top, as I did on the one on the bottom. And now I'm showing you, I have these little thumbtacks. They're just from Dollar Tree. What I do is I cut with my wire cutters at the base of the little point, and then I'm going to turn it a little bit, and then I'll cut it again. And I'm going to hold my hand around it so that you don't end up losing the sharp piece. And then I'm going to throw that away. So just wanted to show you real quick how I go about doing that. And I'm going to just add those as kind of like a little additional thing on the edges. And I didn't do it in here, but I probably will do it later, is go back and give it a little bit of more of an antiquing. So it doesn't look quite so bright and shiny and new. It doesn't bother me so much with the silver ones. The gold ones are like really a little too much. So there's another little touch that you can add, or choose not to. It's really up to you. And we're going to wrap some twine around the handle as well. So basically you put down your glue on the back side, hold your twine to let it set just a minute, and then I'm going to unravel however much I think I'm going to need. And I was pretty darn close. I have to say, I'm getting good at this. So, and now I'm going to just add a little bit of detailing around the edges with this Arteza, however you call it, paint marker, just to give it like a little something more. I don't know. I just kind of kept going with this thing. And one thing you can do, once you get to this point, you can stop. But did I stop? No, of course not. Why would I have stopped here? What we're going to do is we're actually going to add a basket. I saw this from Rhonda, the Distressed Princess. She used one of these and she painted it black and I loved it. So I was like, oh, I need to do something like that. So I painted it black, just spray paint, and I'm adding these little hooks on the back. This is the part that really gave me problems, trying to figure out how to add this darn basket on the back of it. And it's still not the way I really want, so I have to play around with it. So I added the hooks. And now you can't see it, but I added a dowel that did nothing. And then I'm like, well, let me add some zip ties just to give it a little bit more secure hold. They didn't really do anything either for me. I mean, they're secure. It's not going to fall off, but I was trying to get it to where the basket would stay more stationary. So you guys will have to leave me a comment below if you can think of a way to make this basket more stationary, because I cannot for the life of me figure it out. So here it is all finished. See, the basket doesn't stay up as much as it should, but that's okay. Here's all of our projects for the day. You'll have to let me know what is your favorite, and I really am so appreciative of everyone who has come and checked out all my videos and leaves me comments. I really, really appreciate it. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next time.